Hi there, are you Karina?
Yes, that's me. Are you Tom?
Hi, I'm Tom from The Naked Scientist.
Shall we head into the lab? I've got the deer skulls all set up.
That'd be great, thank you.
The study that I am talking about today is this long-term project that's been going on for about 45 years. And we kind of came in at year 43 to measure all of these deer skulls on the Isle of Rum, over 1,300, to see how big the brain sizes were.
Comparisons of brain to body size between different species suggest animals with larger brains may have a better chance of survival, but may produce fewer offspring. However, this is the first study looking at whether there seem to be similar advantages and disadvantages between individuals of the same species, and whether relative brain size can be passed on from parent to child in the wild. We had a look at some of the red deer skulls in the lab.
The one we're going to measure is Scott. He's a male, and the other one sitting here is Fiona. She's a female. So you can tell because she doesn't have any antler pegs. But the male, his antlers have been cut off, but he's got these very prominent antler posts coming out of the top of his skull.
Can we have a go at measuring the brain size on these skulls?
Yeah, I have these little tiny glass beads. They're 2 millimeters in diameter, and I'm going to pour them into the brain case until the inside of the skull is full, and then pour the beads out, and I'll measure the volume from the graduated cylinder. Okay, there we are. The brain case is full of the beads, so now when I pour the beads out into a graduated cylinder, we can see how big the maximum size of his brain was when he was alive. The beads go everywhere, they get stuck all over the place. You can never get them all the way out again, but we'll try. All right, I think that's good. And he is at 400 milliliters.
Is that a big brain, or...?
For a male, that's kind of on the larger size.
So he's a brainy stag. Karina and her colleagues looked at over 1,300 of these skulls and found some interesting results.
Well, we found that endocranial volume, that's the brain size, is highly heritable, and we didn't know that before for a wild mammal. We also found that those females that have larger endocranial volumes for their body size have more offspring that survive past 1 year of age, and they also live longer. But we didn't find any of these correlations in the males, so something else seems to be happening.
Do you have any ideas why there's a difference between females and males?
Well, they have very different lifestyles. The females live in a particular area and they raise the offspring. The males are not with the females for most of the year. During the breeding season, they fight with each other, other males, to gain access to females. And if they win, they get a harem and they get to sire offspring. So what's likely happening for them is they have to invest more in competing, like a large body size and larger antlers.
And were there any downsides to having a large brain?
That's a great question. We were looking for that. We thought that if you have benefits from having a large brain, then there should also be costs to some kind of tissues. And we tested one of these hypotheses, which says that the fertility costs will be incurred if you're investing in a larger brain. And we did not find that the reproductive rate for the females that had larger brains was reduced at all.
Do you think having a larger brain in these animals directly corresponds to them being more intelligent?
What is being discovered about brain size in other species is that it doesn't correlate with the number of neurons that one has. And since neurons are the substrate on which cognition happens, we wouldn't then expect brain size to say much about cognitive abilities.
And why are these results that you found important?
So they're important because what we think of as, what are the costs and benefits of investing in a large brain? All of the hypotheses have been generated from studies that have compared species to each other, and one cannot test these hypotheses at that level. You have to go to the within species level, which is what we did here, to see, are there actually trade-offs that are occurring in a natural population? So that was the really big benefit of this study, and we're finding that some of the cross-species correlations hold at the within-species level for the females, and none of them held for the males. So it's calling into question how robust are these cross-species hypotheses. Now, to find out whether these results that we found in the red deer are more generalizable to other species, we'll need to find other data sets that are as massive as this one to be able to do the same kinds of studies and see, are there always sex differences? Are there only sex differences when the sexes are different? So in the red deer, the males have antlers, the females do not. The males are larger, the females are not. They have very different lifestyles. What happens when you have a species where the males and females are really similar? So it will take a lot more testing of these long-term studies to get at the generalizability of these results.